Marjorie Taylor Greene has weighed in on the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's home, and seizing a bunch of classified and top-secret documents that he wasn't authorized to have. And you're not going to be surprised to learn that she is on Donald Trump's side. Shock. And but the specifics are hilarious. So this is an Axios here. Marjorie Taylor Greene drafts articles of impeachment against Merrick Garland. Articles of impeachment. All right, hit me with the specifics. Let's see what she says here. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said Friday night that she has drafted articles of impeachment against Merrick Garland. The drafted articles of impeachment, which likely won't go too far, shock, come in response to the FBI search at former President Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago. Greene has called on Garland to be impeached, quote, for endangering, compromising, and undermining the justice system of the United States by facilitating the persecution of President Biden's political rival, Trump, according to the drafted articles she shared in a Twitter post. Okay. All right. Where do we begin with this? Endangering, compromising, and undermining the justice system of the United States. Wouldn't you be endangering, compromising, and undermining the justice system of the United States if you let somebody who live tweets 87 crimes get away with the 87 crimes? Wouldn't that be endangering, compromising, and undermining the justice system of the U.S.? And why? Okay, you're going to notice something. No specifics are going to be brought up with Marjorie Taylor Greene as it pertains to this case, as it pertains to what the FBI has done to this point, what Trump has done to this point, what the specific violations in question are. They continue here. Garland did not faithfully execute the Office of the Attorney General's promise to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend the United States Constitution, she wrote in the articles. Now, that's rich. She's bringing up the United States Constitution. Let me ask you a question. Did Donald Trump preserve, protect, and defend the United States Constitution when he brazenly violated the Emoluments Clause by taking $300,000 from Saudi Arabia through his D.C. hotel, as he then turned around and gave them a multi-billion-dollar weapons deal and looked the other way as they murdered an American journalist, Jamal Khashoggi, and chopped him up into little pieces? Was that him preserving, protecting, and defending the U.S. Constitution? Was he preserving, protecting, and defending the U.S. Constitution when he signed a pro-torture executive order? Remember, the Eighth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution is protection from unreasonable search and seizure is the Fourth Amendment. Protection from cruel and unusual punishment is the Eighth Amendment. By the way, he also violated the Fourth Amendment. The wires crossed in my head there as well. So, I mean, and look, we can go on with the ways in which Donald Trump did not respect the U.S. I mean, he just gave a CPAC speech the other week where he was talking about we should murder drug dealers. It should be like the death penalty for drug dealing. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Doesn't that seem a little cruel and unusual? Wouldn't you say that? She has the nerve to bring up the Constitution in regards to what happened with Trump here. Now, by the way, Merrick Garland and the FBI very clearly bent over backwards to try to accommodate Trump, knowing how powerful he is, knowing he's a former president. They had a meeting with him where they politely asked to get back all the classified and top secret documents. And then what happened? Trump turned over some. Through his lawyer said, oh, we turned over all of them. They knew that wasn't true, so Trump lied to them. Then they went back in to try to retrieve the rest of the documents. And by the way, they coordinated so that Trump wouldn't be there when they did it. So the idea, oh my God, persecution, witch hunt, unfair. They did everything under the sun that they could to work with him. And he had zero respect for it. And he tried to use it to his political advantage. I mean, look, all this stuff is obvious, but she's out there in la la land because I sincerely believe that in her worldview, she wants Trump to be some sort of an emperor or dictator. I mean, she openly said the other day, like, yes, I'm a Christian nationalist. I believe in Christian nationalism. And they believe in Trump as like a demigod in that system. They believe in a version of authoritarianism with him as their dear leader. And they make it clear with everything they say. Green's office and the Department of Justice did not immediately respond to Axios' request for comment. Garland said at a press conference Thursday that he personally approved the search warrant at Trump's residence and that it was done to uphold the rule of law. Quote, faithful adherence to the rule of law is the bedrock principle of the Justice Department and of our democracy. Upholding the rule of law means applying the law evenly without fear or favor, Garland said. Green's impeachment articles are another Republican response to the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago. Republican lawmakers and allies have largely thrown criticism at the Department of Justice and the FBI in response to the situation. Green, for example, called to, quote, defund the FBI. Let me ask you a question. Did Marjorie Taylor Greene ever previously say anything negative about the FBI when they, I don't know, for example, what was that document that Ken Klippenstein released? They included, like, socialists on a list of terrorists, like socialist organizations right next to, like, Al-Qaeda and terrorism. Did she say anything then? Did she say anything about, the history of the FBI and how they tried to get, they sent letters to Martin Luther King trying to get him to kill himself? Did she say anything about that? Did she say anything standing up in solidarity when there was some sort of genuinely unjust persecution of left-wing groups? Never. Look, what she wants to do, it's no secret. Everybody knows what she wants to do. She wants to remake the FBI in Trump's image and in her image. So she wants to, effectively what she wants to do is make the FBI worse. Rebuild it from the ground up, make them more reactionary, more extreme, more right-wing, where they only go after the targets that Marjorie Taylor Greene is okay with. And look, the fact of the matter is, are there a zillion things that the FBI has done that are terrible and wrong? And these various entrapment schemes and things of that nature? Absolutely. What needs to happen is you need to massively limit the scope of the FBI because they also went after the KKK and took down the KKK. They also went after the mafia and Al Capone. So there's a laundry list of horrendous things they did. There's a laundry list of good things that they did. If you want to say, hey, defund the FBI, change the name of the organization, build it from the ground up, and limit their scope to only certain things, I'm open to that. I'm open to that. But this idea that's now floating around out there that you shouldn't have any federal department that investigates and prosecutes federal crimes. So no federal agency to go after and investigate federal crimes. That just doesn't make any sense. But of course, they are fundamentally incapable of any sort of nuanced thinking. So they immediately go, this is the full Pavlovian response of like, FBI did one thing I don't like, defund the entire thing. Even though she knows deep down what she wants to do is rebuild it in her image, rebuild it in Donald Trump's image, make them more reactionary, more grotesque, more extremist, more authoritarian. This is one of the rare instances. Okay, like, look, did I support it? Do I support it that the FBI took down the KKK and the mafia? Yes. Do I support them going after Trump? Yes! By the way, you know who else I supported them going after? Hillary Clinton. I don't know if you guys remember. There was a massive FBI investigation into Hillary Clinton. You remember that? And I criticized the FBI on the day that James Comey announced, yeah, here are the list of the crimes that Hillary committed. Here are the number of emails that were top secret and classified. Here are the number of emails that were breached. Oh, and we're not charging her with anything. I remember covering that because that was during the primary. And I was saying, what are you talking about? You just admitted she committed crimes and that you can go after her, but you said we're not going after her. That was a legitimate criticism. That was a fair criticism. But notice something. There were so many people on the left who defended and supported the idea of the FBI investigating Hillary Clinton because we thought she was a genuine criminal. And she is. She's also a war criminal. But is there anybody on the right now saying, look, just let the facts lead where they lead when it comes to Donald Trump and that investigation? Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. And that's egregious because it's so obviously the correct position. It's so clear. The idea that they came up with some cockamamie scheme to take him down come hell or high water. They were dragged kicking and screaming to doing this, and Trump basically left them no choice with how he acted. So I think that's the obvious takeaway from this. She introduced H.R. 57 on Biden's first day as president, saying he had enabled bribery and other high crimes for his actions when he was vice president in regards to his son, Hunter Biden. This is when she tried to file articles of impeachment on Biden on day one. On day one. He didn't even do anything. She's like, impeachment. And again, I find it hilarious. She has the nerve to talk about corruption for Biden on day one when he hadn't done anything yet. Now, has he been corrupt throughout his political career? Sure. And I'm totally fine with investigating that and going after that. But Trump was in there for 4 years. He said nothing about corruption, even though he was deeply corrupt. Just to give you one example, he took $1 million for his inauguration from the predatory payday loan industry, and then as soon as he got into office, he dropped the new regulations that were supposed to go on them, and he dropped the court cases that were pending with them. Nothing on Trump. Again, it's rank partisan garbage. It's dumb as fuck. And just take note of something. All of the law and order, back the blue, all of that talk goes out the window the second they perceive law enforcement as targeting them, even if it's just, even if it's correct. They view law enforcement as basically an arm to go after their political opponents, their enemies, the people they view as the undesirables. And it's never been more clear. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.